Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Malifaux and one of the most hilarious, frustrating games I've ever played. Oh my god. But it's a ton of fun though, so I hope you enjoy it. We're playing the Divergent Paths Week 3-4 for the gentleman, and he's turned into a werewolf. Seems after the puppets failed to rescue him from the guild in the previous game, the Arcanists caught up with him and did their magic. And now he's rampaging around the slums of Malifaux. Well, the puppets don't give up, and neither do the guild it seems, and both factions are after his capture. How this scenario works is that we've got a special strategy. This is an impassable wolfman marker. Anybody who ends their activation within 5 inches of it flips a card. If it's a crow or a ram, the marker gets placed in base contact with the model, and the opponent makes a 2-4-6 damage flip against the model. At the end of every turn after the first, you score 1 victory point per scheme marker within 3 inches of the Wolfman marker, and you can score up to 6 points. For terrain, we've got the forests, the impassable buildings, the severe terrain walls, I think probably height 1, blocking, height 2 and 3 stuff. I think this is just a hill. Yep, that's pretty much it. I ask my opponent if he will kindly deploy first, and he obliges. So we've got the Pale Rider, an Ostringer, Francisco, with Hermanus de Armas and Wade in. Oh, you can see the Pale Rider also has a debt to the guild. Guild McMorning. How very interesting. He's got On the Clock and Plastic Surgery. Really looking forward to see what he can do. A nurse, of course. And back over here on the left flank, we've got a Guild Pathfinder lurking behind that building. For the puppets, we've got a Marionette, Performer, Mannequin, Marionette, Collodi, with Strum the Threads and Bag of Props. Brutal Effigy, Doppelganger, with Retribution's Eye. McTavish, with Mimic's Blessing, yep, forget that all game. And a Marionette. And I hope you appreciate our attention to detail with this dog marker. Let me reveal my nefarious plan. Well, I've got a lot of cheap, hard-to-kill puppets. And they're going to walk up to within 5 inches of the wolf marker, dropping scheme markers and luring it all the way into my backfield as quickly as I possibly can. The mannequin is going to allow me to throw scheme markers 6 inches all the way around it, so I should be able to score max points from it within 2 turns with minimum damage to my guys. McTavish and the Doppelganger are going to blow things away as they try to get near us. And Collodi's going to keep the body count up by summoning effigies and slowing all his dudes down. So I'm pretty happy with my strategy. This Marionette, I think, is going to try to slip around one of these buildings and get into the backfield for Leave Your Mark. Let's do this. Oh, and I should say that the Performer has been chosen as the Frame for Murder target because, I wouldn't want to waste one of my puppets. But with her seduction abilities to remove scheme markers, I'm pretty sure my opponent will come gunning for her real quick. Turn 1. I win the initiative, but despite all my coaxing, the wolf just does not care about the marionettes. And McMorning just takes his time. The Pathfinder shoots the Performer for some damage and drops one of its traps. The nurse has gone here. I don't remember what she did to McMorning. Oh, she gave him poison. She gave him lots and lots of poison. And just walked up here. More puppets bomb the centre, and the dog doesn't care. The dog does not care. Francisco, on the other hand, just fucking casually wanders up and whistles, and it just jumps right for him. Taking a bite out of him for 4 damage, which he prevents down to 2. I try again with this puppet. It's been taken off its duty to try to draw it back into my control before he makes it fuck off all the way back to his corner. Come get the stick, boy! Come get the stick! But no, clearly he smells something that McMorning's got that's much more interesting. Fuck you, Fido. So yeah, McMorning goes and just escorts the dog back. McTavish has gone up and dropped his hunting screen and shot Francisco, who's now not looking so hot. The Brutal Effigy has shot Collodi up over here. And because I placed the Doppelganger badly, it has to be Collodi to go up and finish the job on Francisco, who turns out to have Frame for Murder. Sigh. Totally should have seen that one coming. And that's how we end turn 1. My performer was slowed when she got shot by the Pathfinder, so she could only get to there. This marionette's on 1 wound because it's been ostringed. Kalodi might also have been ostringed. Something shot him. He took 1 damage after Soulstone Prevention and then allowed his personal puppet to get upfield a bit. Main highlights: Francisco's fucking dead, like he deserves to be, and that dog is gonna get neutered when I catch up to him. Oh, and in the end phase, McMorning takes some poison damage and pushes away from the dog. We go to turn 2, liking that hand. Pale Rider gets the initiative and shoots down my performer, scoring me 2 points for frame for murder, and giving the marionette next to it reactivate, and he promptly shoots that down as well. However, this gives this marionette, the personal puppet, the chance to run up and finally attract the wolf's attention. Oh my goodness. It bites him for 2 damage, and then McMorning charges into him. But the plucky totem fends off the deranged master. These things are just so fucking good. And yeah, my control hand helped a lot there. McMorning ends his turn over here, activation over here, trying to lure the dog away, but this time the troublesome hound has found a new friend and is not willing to budge. Now I've got a lovely scrap marker here, and Kalodi's looking at summoning the arcane for some condition removal. But first I think I'll move this mannequin over here. And the nurse makes no time in moving over here and paralysing Kalodi. Fuck, I'm such an idiot. Well, I can't let that thing live till next turn, so the marionette charges in, does a little bit of damage, or maybe misses completely, I can't remember. The Ostringer does some shit, and succeeds in luring the dog away, but it does him for a severe. And that is just desserts, I feel. This marionette goes fast, runs all the fucking way around here because I've put my mannequin in a really shit position, and fails to lure the dog back to me. Come on! McTavish murderises the nurse in a single shot and walks up to there. The Pathfinder's laying traps and gone back here to drop a marker. My doppelganger tries to come up here and use the mannequin to throw a ski marker all the way up over here, but it's just not quite far enough to be 6 inches from the middle line. And at the end of the turn, McMorning pushes back over here to block this marker from counting. So at the end of the turn, the guild score a point for Leave Your Mark and 1 point from a marker that this Ostringer dropped by the dog. And for all my effort, I get nothing. We go to turn 3, I forget to take a picture of my hand. I'm pretty sure I get the initiative, and I stick a marionette up here, it's just within 5 inches of the hound, and this time it bites. It comes over to join me, and my marionette is now on 1 wound. McMorning goes, and clearly he's no match for the might of the marionette's defences, so he has to pull dirty tricks. He gives this marionette some kind of poison condition, which has a pulse which kills this marionette, and then he expunges the marionette to death. I think he was just butthurt that it didn't die last turn, because marionettes are effectively immune to poison. As we progress, the mannequin whisks the dog away, taking 1 damage thanks to its 3 armour. The rider rudely comes to join the party and drops a scheme marker here. Pathfinder has laid another scheme marker and come up over here, pushing his traps around. I think the doppelganger shot at the Ostringer and just couldn't quite kill it, and then it ran away. Something hit Kalodi, allowing him to push over here. I don't think it did any damage, and oh, my personal puppet retracted onto this one. And at the end of the turn, Kalodi moves around here, drops a scheme marker. He's obviously gone fast. Make a new personal puppet of the mannequin and focus blast the rider, giving it idle hands. And we played this a bit wrong, because in all the excitement we were using its defensive trigger for willpower as well, so it was preventing quite a lot of damage. But oh well, these things happen. McTavish goes and uses the mannequin's magician's apprentice or props or whatever it is to drop 2 extra markers around, surrounding the dog with markers. The former personal puppet goes fast, runs around over here. I don't have any cards left to get a push, and so it just drops a marker. And then McMorning uses at the end of the turn his poison to push over here and block my marker. What a bastard. Turn 4, there's my hand and the tasty red joker. I win the initiative, good old doppelganger. I don't actually think I cheated this game, but it's the psychology behind it. I go with the brutal FG, runs around here, tries to luring the dog and fails. He focuses and puts Fear Not the Sword on Collodi, and then accomplices to Collodi, who goes fast, obviously, I always go fast. Use the focused attack to put out the hurt on the Pale Rider, giving him slow as well as idle hands now. I could try and slow McMorning, but I decide to put a ski marker down instead. Sadly, the dog decides that this time it wants to take a bite, and I think it does 3 damage because I got sold an inferior quality soulstone. Oh, and I summon an FG because why not? Things heat up a bit when McMorning pushes into base contact with McTavish through this little gap. Puts 8 poison on him, but the red Joker prevents the expunge. McTavish, Doppelganger, and the Mannequin all beat on McMorning. The Ostringer delivers orders to the Pale Rider to put down a scheme marker here, and at the end of the turn it ends up over here, what with idle hands and slow and such. I think it's got a 0 that allows it to push and place a marker there. So we end this turn both scoring a point for the strategy and both scoring Leave Your Mark. Turn 5, oh, this is tense. The Neverborn get the initiative, the Brutal Effigy goes, he focuses, drops a scheme marker, fears not the sword Collodi, and then accomplices to Collodi. The Puppet Master goes fast, going down to his last wound, and destroys McMorning with severe damage. I put the rest of the attacks into the Pale Rider, and maybe should have killed it, but oh well. I end by pushing out so that I'm not within 5 inches of the werewolf, because that would suck to bring it back up here after my effigy had taken the bullet, to make it nice and safe back behind the rock. An important move was to make the arcane effigy walk over here and go defensive, which basically blocked any pushing that the Pale Rider could have done to try to get back to the dog. And what with idle hands, etc., pushing it back over here, the best hit in the Ostringer could manage was to get over here by the end of the turn. The Pathfinder started to move up, put the trap over here to engage the Doppelganger. The Doppelganger killed the trap with Retribution's Eye, mimicking McTavish, and charged the Pale Rider for shits and giggles. The Mannequin went over here and activated its Magician's Apprentice, and McTavish put down the final scheme marker I need. He ate McMorning's corpse but couldn't get a healing, so I think I just did some attacks on the Pale Rider, not killing it. And at the end of the turn, things look like that. McTavish dies from poison, but we score our points for Leave Your Mark and harassing the werewolf. And that's it, guys and girls. What a great game. For the scores, the guild got 3 points for Frame for Murder, 3 very easy and well scored points for Leave Your Mark, and 4 points for Scheme Markers by the werewolf. 2 of them, 1 here and 1 here in turn 2, and then 1 here in turn 3 and 1 here in turn 4. The Neverborn got 2 points for Frame for Murder, 2 points for Leave Your Mark, and 6 points for Markers by the werewolf. 3 here in turn 3, 1 here in turn 4, and 2 here in turn 5. Making this a 10-all draw. Cracking fun. It's not often that luck creeps into Malifaux in a really noticeable way, but I'm going to call it here. That dog should have been mine in the first turn. Seriously, I cannot believe it ran off to the butchers rather than play with my sticks. But it's not all luck. I did make some duff positioning moves throughout the game. Here, my Marionette's blocking the path, so that if my Doppelganger wants to try to get out of the bad position in the woods, it can't just do it easily, and will have to go hit through the forest at some point. Here was a great position protecting Collodi from the nurse, and I fucking just walked her away. I had the activation control to deal with this, and then I put her again where I can't get a base through this gap should I need to, so this Marionette ended up having to walk all the way over here. And again, with the Doppelganger just blocking off this way so Collodi can't get through nice and easily to the centre. I've really got to watch for this. Oh yeah, my Marionette blocking my ability to place my marker in the scoring zone. Though really McMorning was well placed to stop that. As it turned out, that is just something I've got to work on. But yeah guys, that was the game. It was a blast and I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.